Hi everyone, welcome to myboardgameguides.com. My name is Chris, and today I will be doing a basic guide on how to play the social deduction game Coup, or as I like to call it, BS, but with murder. Let's find out what I mean by that. Alright, so Coup is a game for 2 to 6 players where your job is basically to be the last person standing. You are a nobleman, and your job is to eliminate basically everybody else. So the question is, how do you do that? Well, in the beginning of the game, you get dealt 2 cards. These 2 cards are your agents, and they will help you do things. You will also get 2 coins, and then there's also this very, very helpful player aid because it tells you what kind of actions you can take. Now, in this game, everybody takes turns. So I'll take a turn, and then the next player will take a turn, and then the player after that will take a turn, and we go around in a circle. And this card tells you what kind of actions are available to you. So the first 3 consist of actions that are available to basically anyone. So there's the income action, which allows you to take a coin. So now instead of having 2 coins, you now have 3 coins. There's also the foreign aid action, which anyone can take. This will allow you to take 2 coins. Oh, okay, well you might ask, why don't you just foreign aid all the time? Why would you ever use income at all? Well, that's because there's a special job out there that can block you from taking foreign aid. But if your foreign aid is successful, you will get to add 2 coins to your treasury. Accumulate enough coins, and you can do the third action, which is called cooing. So in that action, you take 7 coins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You spend it, so you put it back into the bank. You point to somebody and say, I'm going to coup you. And that person will choose one of their cards to turn face up to show that they have lost a life and that they have 1 life remaining. Because if the other player has to turn both cards face up, then they will have lost both their lives and they are out of the game. So that's the bare bones of it. Any player can take the income, the foreign aid, and the coup action. But remember, you got dealt 2 cards in the beginning. These are your agents, and as I said, they allow you to do things. For example, if you have the Duke is pretty awesome. Instead of allowing you to take 1 or 2 cards, the Duke allows you to take 3 cards from the bank. So all you have to do during your turn, if you have the Duke, is say, I'm the Duke. I will take 3 coins from the bank. And remember when I said that thing earlier about foreign aid being blockable? If you decide to take 2 coins as foreign aid, you can be blocked. And guess who can block it? It's the Duke. The Duke can say, as you're taking the foreign aid action, sorry man, I am the Duke. You cannot take 2 coins as foreign aid, in which case you'll be like, okay, I have to put the 2 coins back. Now, the thing to note when you're doing all these actions is you don't really have to show the card you have. You don't, for example, in this scenario, you're not like, oh, I'm the Duke, so I will take 3 coins, because this is a bluffing game. And I'll kind of talk about that later after I talk about all the other jobs. So, we talked about Duke. Duke allows you to take 3 coins. Next up is the Assassin. The Assassin is a pretty dangerous card in that she allows you to spend 3 coins. So take your 3 coins from your inventory and put it into the bank. And she allows you to assassinate another player. So you might say something like, I have the Assassin. I'm going to try to kill you. And if the person cannot defend it against it in any way, they have to flip one of their cards over and say, all right, you have assassinated one of my cards. I only have 1 life left. However, there is a way to block the Assassin, and that is if you have the Contessa card. This is the Contessa. She is useless for anything except blocking assassinations. So if a player decides to use the Assassin against you, you can just say, well, you can assassinate me, but I have the Contessa, so the Contessa blocks your assassination. I will not be assassinated this day. And the Assassin might have to say, all right, well, I believe your declaration. So I believe that you have the Assassin. You will not be assassinated. Now, there are other cards. There is the Ambassador. The Ambassador is pretty cool because he allows you to swap out cards up to 2. So let's say this is what happens. You have 1 card, an Assassin, which is kind of dangerous to play, so you don't really want to have it in your hand. And you also have an Ambassador. You could say, I am the Ambassador. So if nobody challenges you, you get to draw 2 cards from the deck. 2 cards from the deck. And choose to keep 1 or both. So let's say you drew a captain, which you didn't have earlier. You could say, all right, well, I want to have a captain in my hand. You would then declare, well, I will swap out 1 card, let's say the Assassin, and I'll replace it with the captain. So that's the Ambassador. He allows you to swap out cards. Now the captain is also a very valuable card. The captain allows you to steal 2 coins from another player. He is kind of like a thief, a sneak. So you would say, all right, as the captain, I'm going to steal 2 coins from you. And you will take 2 coins to add it to your bank. However, stealing will not always be successful because stealing can be blocked. And there are 2 cards that can block stealing. The first is the Assassin. You could say, well, no, I have the Assassin. You cannot steal. Therefore, the 2 coins will go back and the stealing will not take place. Secondly, captains can also block another captain from trying to steal. So when that happens, you just say, sorry, I am also a captain. You cannot steal from me. So those are the basic roles. You have the Duke. Let's see. Right. So you have the Duke, the Ambassador, the Captain, the Assassin, and the Contessa. Those are the 5 roles. And as a note, in this deck of cards, there are 3 copies of each role. So, how does the social deduction and bluffing part work? Or in other words, how does the BSing part of this game work? Well, you're handed two roles at the beginning of the game, but nobody said you have to actually play those roles. I mean, you absolutely could. If, for example, you want to assassinate somebody, and you have the assassin card, well, you can absolutely do that. But you don't have to. In the start of the game, you can pretend to be whoever you want. You could say, I am the Duke. I take 3 coins from the bank. And guess what? You might not even have the Duke card at all. So what you're doing is you're lying to your opponents. You're saying that you have something that you don't have. So what happens then? Well, people can get pretty suspicious when there are a lot of dukes or too many assassins at the table. And they might say, I don't believe you. Show me you have the duke. This is called a challenge. So let's say I just did that. I said, I'm the duke. I'm taking 3 coins. Somebody decides to challenge me. I have one of 2 options. I can show them that I have a duke. For example, haha, I flip one of my cards over and it's a duke. Well, that's bad for the other person because they were wrong on the challenge. And if you're wrong in a challenge, you lose a life. So they have to pick a card and flip it over. However, let's say I didn't have a duke. Let's say I had an ambassador and an assassin. In which case, the other player has caught me lying. And when that happens, I lose a life. So I have to pick one of these cards to flip over. So let's say I got caught. Well, I will flip over my assassin card because I really want the ambassador as a helpful aid later on in the game. And once you lose that life and you turn over the card, you cannot use it anymore. So even though I might have 3 coins in the bank, because my assassin has been exposed, I can no longer use her to assassinate people. The only people I can use are the cards that I have face down. So that is the game of Coup in a nutshell. You're bluffing, you're trying to pretend to be somebody you're not, all with the goal of killing all the other players on the board by forcing them to put their cards face up. Because when they do, they are out of the game, and as long as you still have one card face up, you're still in the game. So that is the basic run through on how to play Coup. Hopefully you found that helpful, and if you want more videos on how to play various board games, subscribe to this channel. Other than that, I hope to see you next time. All right, bye-bye.